Tonight, President Trump insisting he had nothing to do with Israel's decision to bar two Democratic Congresswomen from entering the country.
I don't encourage or discourage the things that they've said. Omar, Tlaib, what they've said is disgraceful. So I can't imagine why Israel would let them in.
The Israeli announcement just hours after receiving unusual pressure from an American president, tweeting that allowing a visit by Ilhan Omar and Rashida Tlaib would show great weakness. They hate Israel and all Jewish people, attacks both women have rejected. Last month, the Israeli ambassador said the Congresswomen would be allowed to travel, but now the government says they were denied under Israeli law because they support a controversial boycott of Israel. Tonight, Omar calling the decision an affront that Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu, under pressure from President Trump, would deny entry to representatives of the U.S. government. Tlaib, the daughter of Palestinian immigrants, posting a picture of her grandmother in the West Bank, calling Israel's action a sign of weakness. A top Republican in Israel on Sunday saying the pair should go.
Anyone that comes with open ears, open eyes, and an open mind will walk away and have an understanding. I think all should come.
It's the latest showdown between the president and those Democrats who, along with two other freshman congresswomen, have been frequent Trump targets. The president recently facing a bipartisan rebuke for his racist remark calling for them to go back where they came from.
He's launching a blatantly racist attack.
But Omar has also faced criticism, including from some Democrats, for comments they've called anti-Semitic. The president's likely to bring it all up here at his campaign rally in New Hampshire tonight. Meanwhile, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi is calling on Israel to reverse its decision and slamming the president's statements as a sign of ignorance and disrespect.
Hey, NBC News fans, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down here and click on any of the videos over here to watch the latest interviews, show highlights, and digital exclusives. Thanks for watching.